Today we're going to discuss the characteristics of autism. We're first going to start with the cognitive and neurological characteristics of someone who has autism. First of all, one of the biggest things is that they have poorly developed social skills. Okay. The next one is they have theory of mind, which is considered difficulty with expressive and receptive communication. Okay, they have difficulty expressing themselves and difficulty understanding what they're receiving in the conversation. The next is the executive function, where they have difficulty with planning, self-control, and decision-making. We're going to talk a little bit more about those social skills. I said it's a big part of being diagnosed with autism, but we really didn't go into it because I want to talk about it more with our next slide. Behavioral and sensory characteristics. Now, like we said, they have poor social skills. So when they get into a setting where they're interacting with others, they have poor social interaction. Okay, they have difficulties engaging in a conversation and interpreting the conversation and responding to the conversation. Therefore, it leads to poor social interaction with their peers, where people might not quite understand what they're saying or how they're trying to say it. Another behavioral and sensory characteristic is repetitive behaviors. Hence, we have a bear on a rocking chair. Some things that we might see is our students doing things over and over and over in the classroom. For example, rocking in their seat is something that can be frequently spotted from someone who is diagnosed with autism. Other things that could be repetitive behaviors is clapping your hands, tapping pencils the whole class period. You know, tapping the pencil can be an occasional thing, but when somebody's diagnosed with autism, they might do it, the whole period. Then we move on to restrictive behaviors. Now, I have a friend who has a 3-year-old son. And when we talk about these restrictive behaviors, we're talking about things that restrict them from living their life, okay? Whatever's in front of them has to stop for whatever is most important to them. So restrictive behaviors are something that follows their interests very strongly. For example, I was saying my friend has a 3-year-old son who's been diagnosed with autism. He has an obsession, a strong interest in trash trucks. So no matter what he's doing, when he's at home, if he hears a trash truck coming, he runs to the front window. He has to see the trash truck lift up the trash can, dump the trash, and put it back down. Okay? He knows which day of the week is trash day. He asks his mom what day it is every morning because he knows that he has to stop everything he's doing to go watch the trash truck. Even when they're out in public, if they go to, let's say, a restaurant or something, and there's a trash truck in the parking lot doing trash, they have to stop, watch the trash truck first, and then go about their business. If he's at the park playing basketball or whatever, riding his bike, he has to stop his bike, watch the trash truck, and then go back. That's this obsession with his trash truck is restricting his everyday life. Okay, so that's what a restrictive behavior is. Now, a ritualistic behavior, that is something where a person with autism wants a routine. They want a schedule. They want to know what's coming next. They want to know that when they get up in the morning, they need to brush their teeth, brush their hair, and change their clothes. They can't change their clothes first. They can't brush their hair first. They got to brush their teeth, brush their hair, change their clothes. With this, it's interesting in the classroom because as an English teacher, I would have my students write in journals every day. And there was one day of the year that we did not do a journal prompt that day because we had a lot of things going on. We had a shorter period, we had an assembly, there just wasn't time for it. And I got asked the whole time, why are we not doing journal today? Why are we not doing journal today? And I realized how much a routine in my classroom is important to my students. Next, we're going to talk about communication and language characteristics, okay? So the spoken language with a person who's been diagnosed with autism, it can vary so much. You can have somebody who is nonverbal, or you can have somebody that is able to hold a very good conversation for their age, okay? It can just vary. There's no true definition of how somebody with autism can speak, okay? We do tend to see a lack of gestures. If a person with autism is going to say goodbye, they're going to speak goodbye. They might not wave their hand to go with that goodbye. Eye contact. They might engage a little or not at all. Okay? They struggle with making eye contact and keeping eye contact during conversations. Another characteristic is that a person with autism struggles with facial expressions, expressing how they feel through their face, okay? If they're very happy, they might not be smiling. If they're very sad, they might not be frowning. I know my friend's son, who is 3, like I've spoken of before, when he's really happy, he doesn't smile. He actually does more of a facial expression. He raises his eyebrow, okay? Where that raising of the eyebrow might be, somebody might take that as a different expression rather than happiness. But because I know him and I know his facial expressions, I know that him raising his eyebrow is him smiling, him showing that he's happy about what just happened. Another thing with the communication and language characteristics that a person with autism struggles with is tone of voice. Okay, just not 100% sure how to change their tone of voice according to how they feel. Therefore, they might have a monotone to their voice expression, or might just be however they like to have their tone of voice. Social characteristics, okay? They have difficulty expressing their emotions. People with autism frequently feel overwhelmed in social situations. Sometimes it's just too much. There's too much sensory going on around them that they can't focus. They have difficulty in taking turns in conversations. So, where we might pause and wait for a question to be asked, they might try to answer the question before the question has even been asked. And then they have difficulty in recognizing one's own feelings, okay? So that's why we've given this picture here of somebody that just seems confused, okay? Not being able to recognize how they feel or why they feel that way, just unsure. These are the references that I used for this presentation, and those are the characteristics of autism.